and we want them to get better.
To react to this, we welcome former Special Assistant to President Trump, Kelly Sadler. So, Kelly, what do you think of the president's remarks here?
I thought the president did an excellent job, and I think you'll be seeing more of these types of interviews as we move forward in the campaign season. In 2015, 2016, President Trump was not shy on going on multiple networks to get out his word to the American public. And so I think this is the first of many interviews that you'll see on networks other than Fox. But he did do a town hall on Sunday on the Fox News channel, followed it up with a World Tonight interview with ABC last night, and I think you'll be seeing many more of these.
What's the goal in these interviews?
The goal in these interviews is to reach as broad an audience as possible. I mean, not a good volume of people watch Fox News, but that's not the entire American electorate. And the president wants to reassure Americans that, yes, we're going through a very troubling time right now, an unprecedented time. But I think the message coming from the White House is we got to focus on reopening the economy and getting our lives back to normal. And will there be more deaths, and will this virus go away? That's not going to be the case, but we as Americans need to resume our lives and get these people back to work. I mean, we're at the point now where 1 in 5 Americans is unemployed. We had the best economy in the world before we shut it down, and now we need to start to open, but open safely.
Kelly, the president showing a little bit of a softer side in that interview. How important is it for the president to show empathy moving forward, just given what we're going through as a nation?
I think it's absolutely important, and I was glad to see that softer side. He doesn't often show it, but he said to those families who have lost relatives and members of their family to COVID, I love you, and we support you, and we as a nation will get through this, and we will come back and be better than ever. And I think that's a very important message the president carry forward.
He had talked about disbanding the task force and then seemed to change it. First of all, why would he consider disbanding the task force when you have deaths over 2,000 a day still and the numbers continuing to change and go up? Why would he even consider that? And what do you think happened to make him change his mind on that?
Well, I think that there was a little miscommunication there. The task force has not been disbanded and will not be disbanded. But that task force that Mike Pence is leading, the vice president, is very much focused on the science and the safety. And we as Americans now know that we're going to have to social distance from one another. We're going to have to remain vigilant in washing our hands and keeping our hygiene up, possibly wearing masks and wearing gloves when you go out in public and go to the stores. So that message has been received. Right now, we need to start focusing on how are we going to get these 38 states that have already started to reopen their economy, how are we going to go through this reopening process and make sure that we're safe in doing so. And so I think that, the public health safety concerns have been addressed. We're doing the best we can. We've got the testing out there that's now available. We've got the ventilators and the supplies that we need. Now we need to focus on reopening this economy.
Okay. Kelly, just moving forward, just talk to us about that tension between how we value lives and economic incomes. This really is a challenging situation for the president and for all of us as a nation.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of personal responsibility that needs to be taken by individuals. The president was he's been very vocal that, 60 years old plus, especially if you have underlying conditions, you're still very, very vulnerable. And we know that this virus the contagion level is very, very high. However, individuals are going to have to be responsible when they go back out and resume their jobs, that they social distance, that all of the equipment that they use is cleaned. And then the governors have the responsibility, to open their states as they see fit. I mean, areas that have been hard hit should probably stay closed longer, but then there's counties within states that only have a few cases, and they shouldn't have to be held, locked down when the science doesn't support that.
Should even blue states be given some federal support for the element of their budget where they're having problems if it's related to coronavirus?
That's going to be a question I think that's going to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. The president and Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, said that we're not going to be bailing out states like New York or Illinois that have, quite frankly, managed their pensions very badly and had a deficit before coronavirus.
But what if it was just for coronavirus, the aspects associated with that?
Yeah, and so I think that there needs to be some strings attached if there is going to be a third tranche of spending.
All right. Kelly, thank you so much. Coming up, we're going to continue our coverage of the coronavirus crisis after this.